Destiny knocked me down when I was at my absolute lowest, when it felt as though every path I tried to take led to another dead end, another rejection. I remember the moment vividly, a rainy evening, drenched in doubt and fear, when life handed me what seemed like nothing but shadows and whispers of uncertainty. I was staring at these moments like a reflection in a broken mirror, the shards of my shattered dreams scattered around me. But in those moments, in the crushing weight of despair, I realized something fundamental. The obstacles around me were not the end of my story, but the beginning of something even greater. Every no I received, every closed door that barred my way, was soon to become the stepping stone on the journey to building my own empire from rock bottom. I grew up believing in destiny's promises, in the gentle assurances whispered about success and fortune, only to find that life was far more complex. The world didn't always roll out a red carpet. Sometimes it tossed scraps of hope and fragments of ambition that others would deem worthless. I was handed these pieces, tiny remnants of a possibility, and though the voices around me echoed that I couldn't overcome my circumstances, I found a peculiar sort of strength in those very words. They fueled me, ignited a fire that burned brighter than any challenge thrown my way. Instead of letting those shadows consume me, I decided to transform them into stepping stones that would ultimately lead to my rise. When I was young, I dreamt of a future where the name on the door would be synonymous with success and innovation, a legacy built on resilience and grit. Yet the road was anything but smooth. I encountered setbacks that would make an ordinary person falter. Long nights were spent wrestling with self-doubt, and mornings often arrived with a lingering sense of defeat. Friends and mentors alike doubted my dreams. They saw every setback as a confirmation that maybe, just maybe, destiny had chosen a different path for me. But I refused to let those opinions define my reality. I recognized early on that every rejection was not the end, but rather a necessary recalibration, a signal to find a new route toward the summit. In the throes of adversity, I began to understand that the whispers of doubt were not enemies to be silenced, but rather challenges to be conquered. They were like the gusts of wind that test the strength of a building, ensuring that its foundation is solid enough to endure the storms. I took every no as a lesson, a detailed brief from life on what not to do, and how I could innovate beyond the boundaries that were set before me. Instead of following a well-trodden path laid out by others, I set out to carve my own way, despite the naysayers and the hurdles that loomed large with every step. I learned to see closed doors not as symbols of defeat, but as invitations, challenges to build my own entrance where none existed before. I remember the first significant moment when I turned a crushing failure into an opportunity for growth. I was working on a project that I believed would change everything, the project that I hoped would finally align the stars in my favor. I invested every ounce of my energy into it, sacrificing comfort and certainty for the promise of a breakthrough. And then, as fate would have it, the project fell apart. Every intricate detail, every dream I had woven into its fabric unraveled in mere moments. But rather than succumb to the despair that threatened to overwhelm me, I decided to look at the shards of that broken dream as the raw materials for a new creation. I took those fragments and began to rebuild, layering them with hard-earned wisdom and the relentless determination that would not allow me to quit. That failure was a rebirth, a transformation that set me on a path that led not just to recovery, but to an empire built from the fundamental principles of perseverance and self-belief. Over time, I learned that every struggle is a call to action, every closed door a signpost guiding you toward your unique destiny. The hardships I endured were not random acts of cruelty, but experiences that bestowed upon me a sense of clarity and resolve. They taught me that the measure of a person's worth is not how many times they fall, but how they rise after each stumble. My journey was anything but a straight line. It was a winding road lined with obstacles, distractions, and moments when the light at the end of the tunnel seemed a distant myth. Yet each time I recovered from a setback, I grew a little stronger, a little more seasoned, and a lot more determined to prove that I was not defined by my failures. There were moments when the weight of rejection became almost unbearable. I often found myself on the brink of giving up, questioning whether the fight was worth it. The silences around me, filled only with the echoes of doubt, could easily have suffocated my spirit. But in those silent nights, I discovered that the most profound breakthroughs occur when you find solace in the struggle. I learned to cherish the solitude, to understand that within the quiet there lies the power to reflect, to plan, and to rebuild. Every harsh word and every dismissive gesture became a building block, each of them intricately interwoven into the tapestry of my new beginning. I started to see that destiny was not a predetermined path set out by external factors, but a canvas upon which I could paint my own masterpiece. Each setback, every harsh word that tried to dictate my limits, became fuel for the creative fire within me. I embraced the shadows, understanding that without them, the light would never truly shine as bright. I embarked on a journey of self-discovery, turning every negative experience into a catalyst for growth. This metamorphosis was not instantaneous. It was a gradual process of learning, unlearning, and relearning. It was about taking the scattered pieces of my dreams and meticulously forging them into a resilient, unbreakable vision. As I began to craft my own destiny, I encountered countless voices telling me that I couldn't make it, that success was reserved for those who had been handed smooth roads and easy victories. Instead of succumbing to that pressure or altering my course to please those voices of conformity, I chose to prove that anything is possible if you believe in your own potential. I spent countless hours refining my ideas, polishing my skills, and most importantly, nurturing the belief that I was worthy of success. I read voraciously, surrounded myself with mentors who shared a similar fervor for overcoming obstacles, and delved deep into the annals of history where stories of resilience were inscribed in every chapter. There is a peculiar kind of poetry in battling adversity, a poetry written in the ink of perseverance and narrated by the heartbeats of those who refuse to surrender. I crafted my story with diligence, infusing every setback with newfound strength. I adapted strategies and reimagined my goals, turning the bitterness of rejection into the sweetness of motivation. When life handed me scraps, I collected them, stitched them together, and fashioned them into the bulwark of my empire. I built a sanctuary of innovation and creativity that was nurtured by the very challenges that once threatened to break me. In that sanctuary, every challenge was a lesson, every setback a stepping stone, and every failure a stepping stone toward unparalleled success. Through this journey, I realized that the shadows around us are not meant to obscure our vision, but to accentuate the brilliance of our inner light. The doubts, the whispers of failure, and even the cruelest of blows were all pieces of a vast puzzle that, when assembled, told the story of relentless determination and transcendent triumph. I learned that the true power lies in the ability to transform adversity into advantage, to turn whispers of doubt into a resounding chorus of achievement. In the midst of the darkness, I found my light and leveraged it to illuminate the path forward, a path that I meticulously built with every ounce of effort and every bit of resilience I possessed. Building an empire from rock bottom is not an endeavor reserved for the chosen few. It is a journey that anyone with unwavering determination can embark upon. It's about taking responsibility for your narrative, about choosing to rewrite the limitations imposed upon you by external circumstances. It's about realizing that the greatest success stories are forged in the crucible of failure, where raw determination is tempered by the fires of hardship. I became a living testament to this truth, an embodiment of the idea that even when everything falls apart, you have the power to reconstruct your world piece by piece, moment by moment. In the quieter moments of reflection, when I look back on the labyrinth of challenges that once overwhelmed me, I see a mosaic of lessons that have shaped me into the person I am today. I saw how every no was not a rejection of my worth, but a redirection. A guide that nudged me to venture off the beaten path and explore possibilities that I otherwise would have overlooked. Every closed door was a sign pointing toward uncharted territories, territories that held the promise of new beginnings and unimagined triumphs. In essence, each setback was a catalyst for my evolution, a testament to the idea that the human spirit is far more resilient and inventive than one can ever imagine. I also discovered that the journey of rebuilding is as much about self-awareness as it is about ambition. It was crucial to understand the contours of my own strengths and vulnerabilities, to embrace both with equal fervor. Recognizing that I had the power to shape my fate, I began to experiment, taking calculated risks, venturing into untested waters, and learning from every stumble along the way. I built networks of like-minded individuals who believed in a future where the impossible could be made possible through sheer willpower and relentless pursuit. Together, we formed a community that celebrated resilience, that saw beauty in brokenness, and that understood the intrinsic value of every setback as a precursor to a grand comeback. There were days when the magnitude of the challenges seemed insurmountable, days when the echo of "I can't" threatened to drown out the beat of my determined heart. Yet in those moments, when the weight of the world seemed to press down on every fiber of my being, I would look inward and remind myself of a simple truth. The most magnificent empires are built not despite adversity, but because of it. I harnessed the strength of my scars, my battle wounds, and let them tell a story of relentless determination. It was a story where every fall was an invitation to rise higher, where every whisper of doubt was a call to prove that the human spirit can, indeed, overcome all barriers. Gradually, the empire I built began to take form, a structure founded on grit, perseverance, and the relentless pursuit of a vision that refused to be dimmed by the transient shadows of failure. What once was a life defined by setbacks, by whispered doubts and closed doors, slowly transformed into a narrative of dynamism and undeniable strength. With every brick laid in that empire, I added a chapter to a testimony of resilience. I was not just proving others wrong. I was forging a legacy that represented every part of me, every struggle turned into triumph, every moment of despair transformed into a beacon of hope. Ultimately, what I learned is that the journey from rock bottom to a self-made crown is not measured by the absence of failures, but by the manner in which you rise after each fall. I built my empire on the very foundations that others would have considered worthless scraps. And in doing so, I discovered that setbacks, when embraced and converted into fuel, hold the power to rewrite your destiny. I stand today as a testament to that truth. A crowned individual who rose from the depths of doubt to shine with a brilliance that only those who have truly faced darkness can understand. There were times, I must admit, when the loneliness of the journey felt overwhelming. The nights were long, and the burden of unmet expectations and shattered dreams was heavy. But I found solace in the idea that my greatest setbacks were merely the setup for the greatest breakthroughs. In those moments of solitude, when the world seemed to have turned its back on me, I discovered that the light within me was far more resilient than any external force could ever be. I learned to see the beauty in the struggle, the art in the persistence, and the power in the relentless pursuit of a dream that no one deemed possible. Now, as I look back on that tumultuous journey, I see how every challenge, every closed door, every "I can't" transformed into an unyielding "I will." I realized that the path to greatness is often littered with obstacles that test our resolve, but it is precisely these obstacles that refine our character and empower us to rise above the ordinary. The empire I built wasn't constructed overnight. It was built one step, one decision, one moment at a time. And with each step forward, I reinforced the notion that the struggles of yesterday are the stepping stones of today's victories, and the very shadows that once haunted me eventually became the stages on which my light shone with unbridled brilliance. This journey has taught me that destiny is not a fixed decree, but a malleable narrative that each of us can write. I transformed every instance of potential defeat into an opportunity, every moment of despair into a stepping stone toward success. That transformation wasn't accidental. It was fueled by the relentless pursuit of a vision that refused to yield. I learned to trust in the process, to believe that every dark moment carries within it the seeds of an equally luminous future. If there is one message I want you to carry with you, it's this. Your setbacks are not endpoints. They are the prologue to your greatest triumphs. Embrace the struggles, cherish the hardships, and remember that each no is merely a precursor to a resounding yes that awaits in your future. When the world tells you that you cannot, let that only be the spark that ignites your determination to rewrite your destiny. Build your empire from the very scraps life gives you, and never forget, it is in the depths of darkness that your light shines the brightest. Today, as I stand on the mountaintop of my own creation, I am a living reminder that resilience is a force to be reckoned with. The journey from the whispers of doubt to the roar of achievement is arduous, yet it is possible, and it is yours to claim. I invite you to look at your struggles not as permanent stains, but as the launching pads for an extraordinary comeback. Build, create, and reinvent the narrative that others have written for you. The crown you wear today is forged from every closed door, every setback, every tear that fell in the silence of despair. And it is a crown that symbolizes undeniable strength, perseverance, and the triumph of the human spirit. So, when destiny knocks you down, remember that the power to rise lies within you. Transform every shadow into a guiding light, every whisper of doubt into a battle cry that propels you forward. And most importantly, let every adversarial moment fuel the construction of an empire that stands as a testament to your resilience, your brilliance, and your unyielding ambition. In the end, greatness is not defined by the smoothness of the journey, but by the courage it takes to rise every single time you fall. Your story is waiting to be written, an epic tale where every setback becomes an interlude to your ultimate comeback. Every drop of hardship leads to a reservoir of strength, and every doubt you face becomes the foundation upon which your empire is built. Embrace your struggles, ignite your passion, and step boldly into the light that has always resided within you. Remember, the shadows are nothing more than the backdrop against which your brilliance is illuminated, and in that brilliance lies the power to change your destiny forever. This is not just my story. It is the story of every person who has ever felt defeated, every person who has ever been told that they couldn't succeed. It is a call to arms for all those who have experienced the sting of rejection, a clarion call to rise above the tired narratives of limitation. Forge your own path, build your own empire, and wear your crown not as a symbol of a battle won overnight, but as a tribute to every single trial and every single moment of relentless perseverance that brought you to where you are today. Let this be your reminder. The journey from rock bottom to the pinnacle of success is paved with resilience, determination, and an unyielding belief that your greatest setbacks are simply setting the stage for your most legendary comeback. The empire you build may start with scraps, but it will end with a crown that is the unmistakable mark of someone who refused to be defined by destiny, and instead redefined destiny in their own powerful image.